I'm feeling the love already. You guys are awesome. Yeah. Why not just stream? You can just throw it up there and homies can come hang out. So, yeah, I just thought a lot of things were happening. They're pretty crazy, possibly historic, and I don't know. Maybe there's some questions and different things. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I wanted to do a stream. One was, I guess, the first thing was just I think people are wondering what's going to happen to GameStop, right? It's also kind of sad that the war gets reduced to what possibly is going to happen in the stock market when lives are really at stake. But I also think that they're doing that on purpose, and you know, I don't want to minimize anything, but I actually wasn't. I drew this up a while back, and it was just the VIX was due for a spike. It just kind of has to reset every once in a while, and it needed one. And so all the way back here, I this isn't financial advice, by the way, obviously, and this isn't even TA. This is chart astrology. So, but yeah, I drew these lines like all the way back here, and then, of course, right when I had this green circle, right, it came up, touched this trend line that I had made, went down, touched this line, as if like I'm just drawing random shiz, right? I mean, this literally is astrology, and then and I knew at this point it was going to break out because this line had been kind of a floor for a long time, and the VIX has to do with like options and whatnot, and that options put a lot of leverage on the market. So I figured, I don't know, I just figured something was going to happen, and sure enough, it did. I also have been finding this trend of red October. I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure there's some other aspects to it, but anyway, so I expected something to happen, but also if you look at all these different peaks in the VIX, it comes down pretty quickly, and I think it's because it's on purpose. They're creating what they know will shake the market, and it's just a way of. I mean, to be honest, I think that they're all the people holding a retirement fund, which is I think the vast majority of like the shares are being traded, BlackRock, Vanguard, Apollo Global Management. All they have to do is make sure that they likely get 10 to 20% over like 10 years. So I think that they just use that, and it's like, oops, the whole market went down, and oh, your mutual fund didn't do very well. Shucks. Meanwhile, they make the really big gains, with the options going up and down. And so there's just like kind of this soak and puke kind of model to it. And when you think about what's going on, let's see, did I put it in this one? In the person who has the most to lose in this situation, in the tensions in the Middle East, is Israel. So I feel like I don't know. There's so Israel is not going to take like I mean, it would be a lot of a front war. I mean, they're within missile range. Like the U.S. would lose soldiers, right? We have ships headed over there. We would lose soldiers, but I mean, Israel is a very short rocket ride away from, a lot of countries that don't really like it. And a lot of those countries probably have access to nuclear weapons, whether we know it or not. So I think they know that, which is why actually they said that they might do a counter strike before, or like a preemptive strike. Zia's saying 100 for the VIX. Let's see, what is it? Whew, that'd be scary. I don't know. I think that there's not a lot of room for it to escalate a lot. As crazy as that sounds, because I mean, I don't know that we've seen China talk about what's going on. I think that they're letting them kind of duke it out and kind of sadly just cripple each other. And then China will probably step in and be like, all right, I'm going to negotiate. And, Biden needs a win at this point. And, who knows, maybe Kamala will step up and pretend like she would broker a deal with China to stop the war. I don't know. I mean, we could see anything. That seems kind of the most likely to me. But I, China, Russia, I mean, they've been around for a long time. And their governments, I mean, they see government different than other people because their governments have been around so long. They're not going to do mutual assured destruction. Like, that's just not going to happen. And, each, Iran and Israel are posturing like they're going to nuke each other. And who knows, they might. But I don't know that everyone else would jump in and start launching nukes because that would take all of like a couple hours for the whole world to just be gone. So they know that, everyone knows that, and I think they each have strategic targets. I don't really know what Israel's end goal is, to be honest. I mean, if Iran does something crazy, I mean, it might be an excuse for a coup to happen. I don't know. I mean, weird stuff. But yeah, like I just think that the VIX does come down. So also, if you did want to play the VIX, there's UVXY. There might be another one, VXX. I haven't messed with that one, but the way the UVXY works, it just more likely goes down. Like, it doesn't always go up with a VIX, but I think it more often goes down with a VIX. So if it tops out, I don't know. I'm thinking early this week. I think anyway, it could top out early this next week and then kind of just drop off. So, not financial advice, but if I had some extra money, I'd definitely be buying some puts. Also, as far as, let's see, yeah, okay. So so the main thing is GameStop, and it's been so hard to explain to people. I mean, it's just a fat stack of cash. I mean, and obviously that's a smart thing to do. I mean, who was stacking cash before Warren Buffett? As Ryan Cohen, right? So I'd say he's smarter. And so they're ready to go. And I kind of actually joke that they might buy some NVIDIA. And, well, I'm going to jump around a lot. But anyway, so GameStop is just mostly cash. And, especially if they use call options, I mean, they could really, I mean, we saw how much damage Roaring Kitty did with $120 million, right? I mean, I don't know that what stock would go up 800%. Well, he didn't sell it at 800%. He sold it maybe 400%. But even at that, right? Like, I mean, say I don't know. Say Ryan buys the dip because he knows. I mean, he has connections to Israel, right? And I'm sure he has connections all over, and he would know what, like, when things are probably going to end and whatnot. And say he buys the dip and something like has a lot of liquidity, a lot of trading volume, like Nvidia. I mean, the gains could be massive, right? It's like if you buy the right kind of option, it can be like a 10% change can be 4 times your money, and so. And that's only 10% change. So I mean, he could 40x if Nvidia dips down, which I didn't. I just drew this trend line. It's pretty funny. I was like, oh, it's probably about there. I probably should have drawn a second one actually beneath it a little bit, but I went down. I was like, where would it touch if it stopped? And it was literally at 69.69. I don't know how that works out, but that's pretty crazy. But let's say he bought it there, right? The top was, I actually told my friend to literally sell it at 140, like high 140s. and the next day it topped out at 150 and 55, I think, and then went down. So I he said I was just a meme stalker that thinks I'm smart now. But anyway, definitely called it. But anyway, yeah. So let's say it hits about $70 or so, and Ryan buys in some options. There, what are the reasons why it could go straight back up? Well, you know, a lot of people vote with how the economy is doing. Or asking someone, an elderly person, like why they voted, who their favorite president was, and I asked them why, and they said, "Oh, well, because my business was going the best those years." And there are a lot of people that they will literally vote whatever is going to work best for them. So, if the economy is tanking, it's going to make Joe Biden and Kamala look bad. I mean, it's not just the same party. This is um, she's part of the presidency. So um, if it tanks, right, they do have some weapons that they can use to prop up the market. One would be cutting the Fed rates, right? Maybe they were waiting for this. They knew it was going to happen, and they needed to reset everything. So I mean, it could. I don't know if it would just go straight back up. I don't know. This thing's gotten weird. I mean, this looks like a meme stock already. Look at this thing. Like, what is going on? That is it's insane. But and someone was saying I'm giving advice to Ryan Cohen. I'm not. I guarantee he's way ahead of me. He probably thought about. He talked about inflation and like timed it all. I guarantee he was waiting for this whole time. I mean, in the emojis, like the bomb was one of them. But yeah, I'm just. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I think some people are thinking, if the whole stock market goes down because of this, one, how long is it going to go down? Like, is it going to be a long time? I mean, I think it will bolt down substantially, but I don't think it'll be a long time. And two, Nvidia was at, like, you take their cash per share, the revenue per share, any of that, it's trading at a really high multiple. So it's pretty high. And I'm not saying PwC has rigged it that way, and I don't, what was it? That was called daisy chaining. Anyway, where they like pay a company to buy their own chips, right? Like there's a lot, if someone makes the argument it's a Ponzi scheme, I have no argument against that argument. But there are a few things, and one, it's propping up the entire stock market. One, because it's one of the only companies, when you look around, what's going to for sure be around? Well, it's probably going to be Nvidia. I mean, they're pretty far ahead in chips and the software behind it. Yes, AI will be able to write software, but I mean, making those chips is I have a chemistry background, and that it would be hard. It would definitely be hard. So it's also one of the biggest weapons the U.S. has, right? It was like the first thing they did when there were some tensions with China. Is we stopped. I don't say we. The government stopped allowing chips to be sold to China, and that did have an impact, right? I mean, they are trying to catch up, and they probably will pretty quickly. We'll see, and but it is one of the biggest weapons the U.S. has. Also, we're going into what I think is going to be like a panopticon era, which is this mass surveillance. There's talk about that there's no need to build a border wall because they're going to have a virtual wall that they'll just be able to see everything you're doing and use AI to know exactly who you are, what you probably will do. I mean, my whole why I got to the stock market was while I was doing psychology, and I actually found that the seven emotions were predictive, and I mean, I know what facial expressions and whatnot correlate with different things, and it shows what measurement tools people are using. Anyway, I'm sure their theory isn't as good, but it will definitely work to. I mean, they're definitely going to have surveillance. That's going to be the theme of every country. I think that part of shorting everything down and transferring wealth, the Soros people of the world have tried to destabilize a lot of things, but that's like in an asset grab. And then they're going to turn around and do surveillance now that they already have all the assets. So don't think that the whole open borders thing that Soros wants to do is a permanent thing. It's just a tactic to, you know, I mean, like grew up fairly close to San Francisco, and I'm sure I'm I'm sure that once all the, I mean, they're like, yeah, you can steal up to $900 worth of stuff like per visit. It's like, okay, cool. Uh, I mean, I'm not gonna do it, but interesting that that's a policy, and obviously that was driving out a lot of businesses, and then you have the way the taxes are set up. People like Elon Musk, you know, he's not the only one that's leaving. Lots of people are leaving, and so what do you know? You know, the prices of housing, relatively speaking, have gone down a lot there, and they will continue, especially like commercial real estate, more so. And they come in and buy it up. I'm sure that's what Soros's plan is, and then all of a sudden they'll crack down on crime because I'm sure they don't want crime around them, but you know, to clear the space out. Um, Made me think of the Ebola virus. I'm not going to get into that, but so anyway, we got, man, keep jumping around. Okay, so the other thing is, let's see. Oh yeah, so Panopticon era is coming. So I mean, there will be a high demand for chips. Like right now, they don't really have a use for it. So like the immediate like investment, I think that they were relying on just kind of financial engineering, and people were, I mean, it wouldn't be bad to have them, but like I think a lot of companies are more in the research phase. So I mean, the immediate return on investment of AI is not going to be like huge, but I think it's going to be pretty quick that it's going to. Um, I mean, especially now that AI would write software, right? So let's say that, for example, X, you know, they don't have an operating system. Well, if they just invest their money, which they are, into like Grok or XAI, they could say XAI write a whole suite of software, you know, to have a whole operating system, and it could just do it. I'm, you know, with this large chunk of it, I think it's getting there. So that's coming. And you know, I mean, China will be able to do that too, right? I mean, I think that, you know, the oil, our dollar isn't backed by gold anymore. That's long gone. It's not even backed by oil anymore. I mean, long term feuds between, you know, Saudi Arabia and Iran. I mean, they've kind of hated each other more than anyone's hated each other, and you know, the BRICS has united them. So that's why all of a sudden we see increased pressure in Venezuela to make sure we can get the oil there. And I keep saying we. It's definitely not me. I would not do that shiz. I would definitely have a more long-term vision than just smash and grab kind of coup stuff. But not that I want to do politics, because I don't. But anyway, that's a big deal, right? That a large chunk of the world's oil is being controlled by the BRICS nations, which is, you know, mainly Russia and China and Brazil and India. I mean, India is kind of more neutral. I mean, India and China have had some tensions. So I don't know. That was what I think was one thing that was pulling the market down in 2022, is just what was going to happen with the BRICS. And, you know, I think that will we'll see that become more important soon. I hope that I mean, to be honest, the United States has kind of pushed the world to look for alternative sources, because like it's not really fair that we just print tons of money and it just pulls down everyone else's the value of everything they own. So pretty messed up. So I definitely don't blame them for figuring out an alternative, but you know, like why can't we just have some synergy, you know? So let's see. Also, oh yeah, so the S&P relies on it, right? And Biden will want to finish strong, and they do have the cutting the rates, which is going to cause inflation. And where are you going to put your money in inflation? Well, in hard assets. It's kind of hard to just like buy houses or whatever. But if you put it in a stock that for sure actually makes money, I mean, it's going to be, Apple and Nvidia, right? And I mean, they're the ones producing the hardware that can't be replaced. I mean, Google could be replaced. It doesn't really do anything. Facebook could be replaced. Tesla can't be replaced. It I don't know what the revenues actually are compared to the other ones, but I mean, definitely can't be replaced. So, you know, I mean, Netflix could be replaced, right? Blockbuster could come out and, geez, in a year, who knows? It could just totally destroy it. Um, so there will be some that are going down, and what's going to have to prop up the S&P 100, 500 is going to be Nvidia. Um, but I wouldn't I wouldn't try and buy puts all the way down. I mean, you do you, right? I try to like, I mean, freak. I think where did I buy puts? I bought them. I bought them here and here. Yeah. It was just usually days away from these ones. That hurt. So I mean, I saw it coming. I saw the tensions in when Hezbollah shot rockets. I mean, literally at Israel. They didn't do anything. And I was like, that's really really weird. And then Hezbollah shot rockets at the Golan Heights, which isn't real. I mean, it's kind of Israel. They're not Israelis living there. I mean, obviously, like everyone. Anyway, so it just was really weird that they waited to react. I mean, but for me, it's like the first part of the fall or the run is the best, and so I don't know. I would feel like if it hit $70, I would look at other stuff. See what Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin is a 24-hour thing, so that's a good kind of check on the pulse, and it's used as collateral, and for margin. So I mean, I don't know if directly, but there's definitely they move the money around quite a bit. What is Bitcoin doing actually right now? So Bitcoin, I don't know. There's some downward, like I'm, astrology wise, I don't know. I mean, I think what they're trying to do is shake out. So all the people like Jamie Dimon are pretending like they don't like Bitcoin, but they know that the Federal Reserve is probably going to use it, and they know it's like kind of inevitable. I think that there should be a better way. I mean, I think that they should just have an accountability token. I don't know, maybe start by giving just tokens to people, and then they kind of vote with their tokens. I don't know. There's got to be some accountability thing, because like there's some people that just randomly got in early and just have a ton of Bitcoin. Like people are mining like one a day, and some people there's wallets that are just like no one can use. So like I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Not against it. I mean, but either way, I think that they're trying to, like, they want it, so they're trying to tell everyone they don't want it and scare the market. And when it hits probably somewhere in the 40s, 47, who knows, maybe just 49, because it is kind of safe, especially for other countries that are worried about their own currency. Actually, I don't know. I didn't even see. There's kind of this line going here. Ooh, well, it does kind of go straight down to that. That's funny. 39. Okay. That's all the way. Oh, October 6th. Okay. Well, maybe that's the case. Maybe. Well, that is about where I was kind of thinking. I was kind of imagining Wednesday we'd kind of get like China would step in and be like, "All right, guys, chill out." So I don't know, just for history's sake, we'll just yeah. So who knows? Probably like bounce off the 40 is my guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trading Bitcoin. And one, I just made some poor choices, and I don't have a ton of money to invest. If I did playing Bitcoin though, actually, I was actually looking at Riot, just because I thought it was about ready to They, I think they mine Bitcoin or something. I don't know. I was gonna buy it actually here. I'd marked this actually all the way back here. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get it when it touches this again. So um, it is kind of touching it. Uh, so yeah, maybe like Tuesday or Wednesday, I would buy it if I had some money with some in the money call options. No, not that far out. Anyway, uh, but someone else was saying Mara was actually better. I don't know if I pulled up the chart over here, but um, I'm not. Oh yeah, Mara. So yeah, I don't know the fundamentals at all. There's just someone that DM'd me that I feel like knows more than me. So I am going to look at that one. I would probably also just see which one had lower IVs. I just hate paying that premium. Siri, they have a transaction coming up. I think they're merging with Liberty soon, so that's gonna be interesting. Sorry to jump around. That was what was I actually going to? Just talking about. Was there anything left on? Oh yeah. So one thing I've kind of thought for a long time. I live near Intel, and so I know a lot of people that work at Intel, and so when I that was like the first stock I bought was I actually looked at the whole market, and I was like, oh, which one? Like I was like, I just noticed this fat bubble, and I was like, what even is that? Like I knew nothing about the stock market. I mean, not like nothing, but um, this was when I very first started, like 2022 ish, or maybe a little before that. I can't remember, but anyway, I bought it, and then it was right before the Chips Act, whenever that was, and so I was like, oh, Chips Act, they're getting like a huge injection of cash. Like this is going to be a gold mine, right? Because it was like already had come down from from the high, and then it just kept dipping. So I bought it at like $33 or something, and it just went all the way down to like 25. And I was like, I remember asking my finance friend, I was like, why did that happen? Like that's so weird. They just got a bunch of cash, and he had some weird answer, which did not make sense. And that was kind of the beginning of my suspicion of like what's going on in Wall Street. Come to find out, like they're definitely overrun with Boston Consulting Group, but you know, I think there's going to be a shift, and Boston Consulting Group is going to be losing a lot of influence over people, especially once they realize it's kind of an existential threat to our country. And so I do always keep Intel on my radar, because one thing I know that they were doing, well, one, once that chips that they're using that Chips Act money to build all these factories, and they were supposed to be up in like 2025, and they were just skipping some uh, technology uh, like levels. They weren't going to do 4 nanometer and then 2 nanometer. They're just going to skip straight to like 1.4 nanometer processes, I think is. Hey, PP, what's up, man? Yeah, just decided to turn on the stream. Glad you guys joined. Um, yeah, so I think those factories will be a big deal, and Intel, they came out with a gaming graphics card, which was fascinating, and they didn't really try that hard. But I figured out why, and it was because what they really are doing is they're doing for surveillance, right? Just like huge graphics cards for big um, uh, yeah, for just like tons of cameras, to be able to process tons of cameras. And they were showing that already they were doing, in that specific niche, they were doing better than NVIDIA. And there's like a thing to be said for specialization, right? Like, for example, my like fan on my laptop, it has an NVIDIA processor. It's going like crazy. Like this thing is like holding lava. It's so annoying, right? And I mean, I just don't really like using Macs for a lot of reasons, but since they're wired to do video editing, which is what the stuff I do, I would probably be fine on a Mac. Like it's anyway. It's just that's the thing is that they specialize. They're like, okay, they don't do it for gaming, and I don't really actually do that much gaming. I haven't done like any recently, but uh, they don't that the MacBooks can't do gaming, but they can do everything else really, really well, like video editing, Photoshop. And so I think that it's all about finding your niche, right? Like the MacBook people or Apple is not trying to win the gaming market. I don't know that they think they could take it if they wanted to. Plus, that's just not their style. Um, they like it being super quiet and whatever. And so, anyway, I think that Microsoft or Intel has found their market, which would be um, surveillance. And it's not a coincidence there with Boston Consulting Group, who's trying to get all your information. You know, whenever there's like a data leak or whatever, somehow they're right there. You know, and I think that has to do with the invisible wall that people at those high levels in those consulting groups and in politics want to do. And China is already, doing it. I mean, you can see they know who everyone is walking around just by their faces, and you have a social credit score and all that. So that's coming. I don't know. I just keep Intel on my radar because like it could be a good buy because it has dividends. They do pay their executives a ton, even though their executives aren't doing a great job, and they do play all the consultant groups a lot, which just end up firing people and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there is there. I mean, you think about in the global scale that you have all these countries that are going to industrialize. I mean, you see like the chaos in the UK right now, right? I mean, once there's these cameras, they'll know exactly who everyone is, and I mean, it's the need for it is there. I'm not saying they should do it. It's kind of terrifying, to be honest, because I watched a video of like literally the UK police like running away. It was like kind of embarrassing, but they're not going to need to do that because like literally robots will just come in. I mean, they have those robot dogs. I mean, the Tesla bots are coming out pretty soon. So, let's see what bloody week. No, I do have some for August 16 PP. I try to get some theta this time. Yeah. No, as far as options, I think oh, that's another thing actually, we'll get away from dystopia for at least a second, is with GameStop, their earnings are coming up, right? There's a window of time where they're, and don't mind all the laser show, the dance party, but so I think that the implied volatility only dipped down to like 70 or so. I think it was here. I don't remember exactly where it was, but usually GameStop stays pretty high, and I think that it's at its low, and so it's going to start rising going towards earnings. Earnings is supposed to be September 4th, so uh you know I mean September 6th I guess was as soon as you could catch any sort of catalyst before then, if there's lots of them that it could be, but also just the IV play. And I do a spread. Usually I'll do different time lengths, and I always sell my earliest dated ones first, right? Like I'm not expecting to diamond hand them. All right. Like if I buy the short ones, 20%, I'm out. My new policy. But yeah, I think, you know, for me, if I do buy any more, it's probably going to be at least September 20th. Just, I don't think, I guess getting into the court thing, I don't think that the new case lawsuit that the plan man filed against Ryan, I still need to check with some people whether, some people, lawyer people, if that could hold him up. I don't think it can, because I think that the thing is that, one, the BCG case, I think that was actually the big one. I don't think the Bratia one was actually big. I think that it was a pretty stupid case anyway. I mean, they're like, really? Like, your trades are all over the place. They don't even match up with what you're mad at. So what do you want? But I think that I think the BCG case was just completely had their hands tied. So I don't know that the Bratia case was that much of a problem. But the Boston Consulting one, I mean, they don't say how much they're charging you when they charge you. They just, you know, can name their price or whatever. And so I think that when Ryan got on the board and they stopped using Boston Consulting Group, they just probably left them a huge tab, you know, like, oh, you owe us $1 billion or something. And there's gonna be a lien on your company until you give it. I don't know exactly what it was, but either way, they couldn't do any acquisitions until that was done. And the Bratia one, it didn't have a set liability, so I think that was the problem. Is it potentially could open up to bigger problems? Like, oh, well, you just made $1 billion on this. Like, well, I want half of it or something. I mean, judges do crazy things, and I think that the one that the plan man's doing, whether Ryan Cohen buys baby and we go to the moon or not, he's just still, you know, gonna have to pay $47 million. So he could pay it now. He could drag it out and pay it later. I don't think it matters. Also, if there's kind of two plans, I don't think it directly would stop anything, right? If the other plan, I mean, it's stupid that they're focused on that rather than clawing back money from all these other people. I mean, to be honest, I'm actually suspicious of Holly Etland. I mean, I just looked into Harriet Edelman, and like things are starting to make sense why they were doing what they were doing. But I think anyway, I think that either way that the plan is set up, it doesn't. I don't think this could stop it. So we could see a catalyst sooner than later. If it could stop, if it's true that it would stop it, if Ryan Cohen had a response, let's say Monday, or maybe even just filed it Friday, just already had it ready, I'm sure. The plan man would have 30 days to then file his response to this response, and then Ryan Cohen could just turn maybe 2 days later or whatever and send, you know, the final response back, and then there would be a court hearing. So either way, it'd look like 40 days, which would suck if it was the case. But I like I said, I think it's the same 47 million no matter how you slice it. You know, that was what he said when I talked to him. He's like, it's just straightforward math. He made 47 million. He, you know, it violated 16B. We're gonna pull it back. He's like, and I was like, why don't you pull it back from the people who did fraud and bankrupt the company? And literally, I said that long before it was actually proved. So, he's like, Ryan Cohen's a big boy. He's got, you know, fancy lawyers, you know. So I don't know. There could be some stuff going on, but I don't think that has to hold it up. But either way, now that the IVs are low, I mean, part of the reason why I was buying shorter ones is just because the IVs were so high that it was really expensive, and I just really thought we were gonna break above that and go for another little run. But it is interesting, like kind of like there's like the strength and the thesis type thing. I think, I mean, who knows? This actually just happened. This line here actually happens to be book value, you know, about $13. I don't think it could get anywhere near book value. Some people are saying they think it could drop to 17. Maybe. Someone also said there was a gap at 19. Okay, sure. Well, maybe. I don't know. If it hits 17 though, not financial advice, but I mean, make good choices, because I don't know if those types of situations happen very often in the world. But also in the money calls. But let's see what else is on my list. I mean, compared to Berkshire, right? I don't know what the multiple that Berkshire is at right now as far as like book value to what's actual value, like what premium it holds. But you know, right now, you know, if book value is like 12 and a half or $13, and most of that's cash. Like how many? I mean, also like we don't even know what Ryan Cohen's been doing with that money. Like if he couldn't use it for doing acquisitions, you know, I mean, what if he's been just degenerately playing options, right? I mean, we've seen quite a bit of volatility in different stocks, and I mean, man, I saw Nvidia. I told myself, well, actually, I didn't see it hit 100. Well, it didn't matter. I didn't have any money anyway at that time. But it hit when it hit $100. I'm too zoomed in. Yeah, when it hit $100, like right here, man, I would have just like caught this pop. I mean, yeah. I mean, who knows? Ryan Cohen could have done that. Like I mean, I I thought it was pretty obvious if it hit 100. I don't even know if it hit exactly 100. I think it just got kind of close. No, that's his 101. Yeah, so if it had like right there at 100, I don't know. I don't know how degenerate Ryan is. He's gonna jam in a bunch of calls on Nvidia and then just sell. I mean, he could have done some magic there. Um, I mean, I think he is one of us. Anyway, I'm not sure what else I have. There's any other. There's cat system. Yes, that is coming up. Oh yeah, just the landscape, right? So, we've been waiting for something to happen. Well, all the way back in like 2021, it was actually Gary Gensler. I mean, I don't, I guess I don't have an opinion either way. Um, but he, like, whether he's good or bad, he's not on the top of my list as far as people I think that are messing things up. But he's not on the bottom list either of the list either. But he was suggesting that the market moves to an auction style, and what happened? Well, Doug Sifu, out of all people, was like, "Oh, well, we're just gonna litigate him then. If he tries to get rid of outlaw payment for order flow." And Gensler said it'd save investors, 1.5 billion a year or something. And how the agencies work. I mean, they can just lock the agencies up in lawsuits and just keep them there and say, "Oh, well, have you considered this?" And, "Oh, we're gonna have to reschedule another date to talk about this." And they can just filibuster it for as long as they want, and then the rules just never get applied. I think that's why we haven't heard you know from Ken Griffin. Is he probably sees the writing on the walls and like, okay, payment for order flow is gonna get nixed, and like he's probably like, I have to think of my next gig because this cash cow isn't going to be there. And it's not going to be there because you have there's the Jarksky versus the SEC case. That there's three cases important in the Supreme Court. One was Jarksky versus the SEC, and that allows the Department of Justice to actually come in instead of having these in-house judges that were just like paid off. Now there can actually be some accountability and actual like a court with a jury for if there are cases, right? Because we don't typically see what goes through there. Like, oh, we're working on it, we can't say it out loud because it's a public company, and oh, they come out later, there was a $6 million slap on the wrist because someone stole like $2 billion or $10 billion, or over the last 15 years, they just accidentally forgot important information about their trades. So it's been a joke for a long time. And now they can actually be held accountable. So that's huge. I mean, that's really huge. And what's also huge is that the Chevron doctrine, which allows agencies to make laws as long as it's within their scope of what they're allowed to do, which everyone would just say that's part of my job, because like if it was something new, they would just try to claim it. That's why we see things shifting around, like, oh, is crypto part of the like who does it belong to, like who's supposed to regulate it? And well, the Senate, right? Like they're supposed to write laws. Isn't that how the government works, right? Like, I mean, they might not be experts, but they should be able to get a hold of some experts. If they can't find someone who's an expert in crypto, I mean, just call OK Bets, right? Um, I mean, I think he already does help them with that stuff. So there are going to be some huge changes now because it just completely takes power away from all these agencies, and they were ones that were, um, they were just allowing just massive crime. And maybe there's people that were good in there that were trying to stop it. I don't know. Maybe a scary thing, to be honest. But literally the Senate could just rule payment for order flow is illegal now because it's front running and because it's naked short selling, right? And they could just outlaw it. It might go to trial, and then it goes to Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court will be like, "Yep, nope, it's outlawed," and then it's outlawed, right? So, um, I mean, we could see something on that level, and the stage has been set, which is really exciting. Um, and I thought for a while that we had to wait for a change of administration, but it looks like because of that, the Senate could make the change, and they want to be reelected too. So, um, and it helps everyone, right? Like having a broken system that only helps a small set of people is just not good for everyone. I mean, our whole economy will thrive if the system just works, and we can all trust it. So let's see. Chaz says he's buying it open. I don't know what you're buying it open. I don't know if I'd buy anything at open, to be honest. um, I mean, there's a few things that are like fundamentally speaking, like a lot of the good companies, it's gonna take a little while for them to come down. I feel like at least half a day. I mean, for people to feel like, okay, what just happened? Like, are we good now? So I mean, I think the implied volatility will just skyrocket in the morning. So whatever you buy, I mean, that cuts out of your potential profit. Is like you need it to go down. If you're buying puts, you need to go down a lot further if you're buying at high implied volatility. I mean, sometimes I've actually like sold the top at like it hits like resistance or something. I sell a call option, and I go to buy it in at the bottom, and the price is still just the same, even though I caught like a 1 or 2% move. And that's just because like if the implied volatility goes up as the price goes down, like you can't just buy back in. It's pretty annoying. I think it's on purpose. um Chess has August 30s. Nice. Hope they're hope they're close to the money. Oh yeah, IEP. Wow, that's a good point. So let's see. uh Eyes are a little blurred. I haven't actually drawn. Oh yeah, I did actually draw about IAP. Wow. Look, I didn't even. I drew it. I haven't even looked at. Oh no. Yeah. So I don't know. This could be an entrance point. Because well, I mean, oh yeah, the companies that are all the blue chip companies. It's gonna take a while for them to come down. But the companies that are, you know, uh, just have fundamental value, and it's close to that fundamental value. It's not like there isn't any premium added to IEP right now. It will be added soon at some point, but it's not. So right now, yeah, I don't know how far it's. What's weird is that when I drew all these lines, it's like it was like pointing towards something, and it's like, I mean, I guess on the table was like World War III, but I don't know. I just didn't. I just thought people would be more rational, I guess. But I've yeah, definitely been wrong before. So anyway, say this does dip down. Where could it go? If I was buying into IEP, just looking at like the lows. So let's say it goes down to 15.7 or something. I don't know. If it goes below $16, especially if the IVs like, let's say it goes down to $16 and then kind of flattens out here for a little bit, and the IVs start like going down. I mean, I think that getting them for 2025 would be good, but then you have to look at the premium that you're going to pay. So also, if usually goes up before their dividend date, so you might want to see when the dividend date is, and you buy the call options, you could sell the close. So you would only have to buy till that dividend date, whenever the next one is. I don't know when it is, and sell the options or sell the close. So you sell some of them and then exercise the rest right before you get the dividend happens, and then you would just have shares and the dividend to then, when it goes back to, I don't know. I think it will go back to its normal like $50 range, which it was at before. So, especially if Trump gets in office. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, PP says dog days are over next Sunday. Well, they're supposed to be over. I have some calls on the 9th, so they need to. Um, let's see. Oh, Sunny D saying Chewy. Yes, yes. I mean, Chewy's another one. I mean, right? We got share buybacks that are, what are they supposed to be bought back at? $28, $28.50. So we're at 22. I mean, yeah, that's as far as certainty. Yeah, like um, I mean, if it does dip down, I drew this line a while back. I haven't opened this up in a little bit. Let's see. So if it did dip down to this line, 1990. Yeah. Yeah, so Sunny D saying Chewy at 20. Yeah, that would be a great entry point, because I mean it's profitable, it's making money. I mean the ones that are gonna get hurt the most are the ones that they're not profitable, and I really don't know. I mean, I think, like, I really wonder if they're gonna do the rates. I don't think they want to slash them, because it's kind of a game of chicken. Which country can afford to keep their rates higher for longer? Because it will kind of shift the power between the different currencies, especially in the ones that are compose the DXY. So I think that the Fed, as greedy as they are, and as much as they like to print money, they I don't think they want to lower the interest rates, and so I think that they're at least going to hope that there can be a resolve, a deal with China and Russia and whatever to, it sounds like with the Ukraine thing that, I mean, I think just the other day, this last week, like Putin was like, look, why don't you just give us the Donetsk region and the whole, basically the whole east side, which was kind of predominantly Russians anyway. Just give us that, the whole swath all the way down to Crimea, and we're cool. I don't know, I think it's a pretty good deal. I don't know if it involves getting rid of the Nazis, but because that was what his other stipulation was, that you had to get rid of all the Nazis, and I mean, yeah, I don't know how that would work. I mean, nationalism is just I think lots of countries have, and Russia did do some pretty messed up stuff. I mean, the Nazis really, I mean, they didn't like the Bolsheviks, not specifically just Jewish people. I mean, they're, like half the Bolsheviks were Jewish people, but yeah, I mean, the Bolsheviks definitely screwed over Ukraine. So the fact that they kind of held a grudge, I mean, it's at least not shocking. Um, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah. All I know is I'm glad I'm not anywhere over on that side. Yeah. Kind of chaotic, but yeah, Chewy definitely looking good. What else we got? IWM. Oh yeah. I mean, that's the one that supposedly when the rates get cut will go up. Um, I mean, it's been running actually, but not. It barely kind of hit 2021 highs. Whereas if you look at compare it to the SPY, I mean, no, it's 2022. Holy crap! To like zoom down. Okay, yeah, the high is 250 or whatever in 2021. So it's, I mean, it is substantially, or 450, 450 to 565. Yeah, I mean, you compare that, it hasn't had its turn to really rip. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it will. I mean, we'll see. Oh yeah, BuzzFeed. That was on my radar as well. I wasn't actually even planning on doing this, but I mean, I guess let's just keep letting it roll. So this was, I kind of made these thoughts before the conflict kind of started, and my guess was something was going to happen here. So Wednesday, yeah, it was weird. All these charts were pointing towards Wednesday. That's why, like, I don't know. I feel like something's gonna happen there. It's either gonna be a resolution, or that's when someone's just gonna drop the bomb. I don't know. All I know is I would not want to be living in Israel right now. There's, I, yeah, I would not. I mean, I pray for everyone on all sides. Like, just chill out, everyone. Like, we can figure out a better way to do things. Like the old way that's been going on for a long time. I get it. It's there's a lot of tough choices, but I don't know. Is it really worth dying for? Um, yeah, I don't think it is. So, I mean, I guess while I'm here, maybe I'll just look at the DXY. I haven't. Yeah, interesting. The dollar going down while stocks are going down. That's that's interesting because it kind of usually does the opposite. I think is you know if the dollar goes up, people then chase the dollar and they pull their stocks out, and so yeah, that's pretty interesting to see it go down with it going down. Anyway, I mean, look through. If they suspend the market tomorrow in the U.S., everything's gonna get effed up. I have so many puts. Tesla, dude. Well, I mean, I hope your spy puts aren't for tomorrow. I don't know what they would do if they just like cancel the market and you have spy puts, because I have definitely played some dailies on the spy with puts, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't would they do the market? I don't know. I mean, that's one thing my mistake I think is I kind of figured out how options work, but I just really didn't have, so I was able, I mean, I made, it wasn't just like one or two good trades that day. I literally had dozens of good trades. I literally felt like I was God. Like, I just kept just like slamming back in there and boom, 4x, boom, 2.5x, like days. And then it was like, boom, 160x, the GameStop. And it was just like, wow, I can't lose, right? Like, but I didn't have, people like Richard Newton are looking at inflows and outflows of ETFs. I wasn't even thinking about that. Like I should have been doing that. And I also just should have been expected people like the crooks on Wall Street. I mean, I believe that they're crooks and they're evil. So I should have believed that they would find new ways to break the rules, just blatantly commit crime, like halting the stock for 27% of the trading day. Like, I don't know why no one, I mean, seems to care about that. And like the whole market, the regulators, like, but yeah, that screwed me. And then, why are tokenized shares trading again like that? There was tokenized shares, those hit on the 17th. Everything went down on the 17th when those hit. And they had, GameStop, but they also had Google and I don't know what I'd have to look at all the ones they did, but there were several big stocks they did. So I don't know. I have been trying to figure that out, and I think I've figured out some parts of how that crime probably went down. Let's see. Just reading some comments. Some IP leaps. Yeah, I agree, Brian. Less wars, please, people. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, we're in perpetual war because it consolidates power, right? You know, what do you see every time there's, refugees and chaos? Boston Consulting Group comes in to make a plan, and who funds it? J.P. Morgan and BlackRock, and so I mean, like, it's just this consolidation of power at the expense of people's lives. Like, man, they people. I mean, the crap went down in Syria and whatnot. Like, insanity, absolutely insanity. Like, I don't know. Anyway, that could be a whole different tangent. But you know, I just I don't think it has to be this complicated. I mean, things are getting more complicated because of technology, but anyway, Chewy is at 18 on Robinhood 24-hour market. Okay. Yeah, so where would be the bottom for Chewy then? Wow, that might be the buy right there. That's wow, nice call, Kelly. Let's see. Oh yeah, Brian says DXY going down with the market is not normal. Yeah, no, I was thinking because like that's the one thing I look at, and the thing is I feel like now that I like even since I lost so much money in the last couple months, like I feel like I'm most prepared now to like make money, but it's when I least have the money, which definitely sucks, but it's okay. I really do think we're gonna get our Bed Bath shares back pretty soon. To be honest, I think the court case that's gonna happen on the 8th. I don't know that we'll have immediately or get our shares back, but I think that might be where things get settled because I think that's where they kind of show all the money and all the assets that are there and the final kind of accounting of things. So I think the plan man might not even know what all is in that trust, and he might find out and was like, oh wow, the money already does exist to you know finish all this. So also I haven't really talked to plan man. Kind of ghosted me, so I thought he hated me because I talked crap about him, but then I sent him a new demand letter with all these other things, which I'm gonna send him another one now that this maybe tomorrow, with a few more people that I've found some evidence on that also should be sued on the board that were not. I mean, one's a McKinsey consulting guy that anyway, but yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna forward it to the litigation team. So I know I didn't hear back like what that meant, but I sent quite a long list of points that I want them to address, and hopefully they are. So I don't know. GME on German market seems to have opened with some volume today. Sweet, awesome. All right, well, you guys are all awesome for joining me. This has been fun. Glad I just did a stream. Anyway, one last look at GameStop. I think I'm excited. I really am. I think Ryan, the smart people, the adults in the room, like Ryan Cohen and people like, people sleep on Ryan Peterson, but that guy's smart. I mean, he just, man, you know what? I'm just gonna show that actually, just because it makes me so excited. Is it types fast? Yeah, I don't know where his name comes from. Okay, I don't know if I'm the only one that this gets them excited, right? A renaissance, right? I don't actually know when this is. This might be like the Dutch Indies trade. This was the beginning of the stock market, and this was like a huge boom. Just completely changed everything because they realized like, hey, wait, if we all pool our resources together, we can build some big ships. And we go all the way to like who knows where because we don't even know what else exists. They built all these ships and then they made all I think they made it all to China. So suddenly they were doing trade with like India and China and just man, that the boom that happened then was crazy. And then there was another boom when the steam engine came out, I think. So there are these times, and I think that Flexport is leveraging all types of trade. I mean, I think that some of them probably are running like literally DOS computer systems. I mean, like some old software and some old like just paper everything. I mean, in med school, some doctors were still paper charting. Like that's crazy. Like how are you supposed to keep track of things? Know who's like, anyway. So there's, I don't know, depending on where you grow up. I mean, I grew up in California, so I didn't realize like how what the discrepancy between technology in different areas. I mean, I remember even just going to Philadelphia and trying to find a protein shake, and like they didn't have any. It's like they didn't have like a supermarket, at least in the part of town I was. And I went like all around, and I was like, this is just weird. Like, never, I didn't think they had mini marts like this in the United States. And like, I mean, even just recently, you got like tap to pay, right? Like, a lot of, companies haven't even like upgraded that, not like they have to or they should or whatever. But anyway, like just like I imagine in the shipping world, there's still some really archaic technology and people are cheap, especially. So, having this new, I mean, it could be a total game changer because like it will stop the cartels from being able to price gouge because it basically can leverage any type of like so many people can join the platform that it's like, oh, you want to mess with me? That's fine. We'll just give this business to someone else, and like, oh, dang it. So then they just lose out on sales, and the free market can actually start bringing the shipping costs down, and that's gonna be amazing. Also, I think there's a move to like make better relationships with South America and our buddies in North America, like Mexico and Central America, which is great. Then we don't have to friggin' travel all the way across the world just to get, something, right? So there is going to be a renaissance. It's happening. You know, it's very exciting, and yeah, cheers everyone. So thank you all for coming, and you know, I wish you best of luck. I think that this time is it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild, and just I don't know. Love you all. So I will see you tomorrow on the PP show, and